Have you ever noticed some parents can fix a broken TV with a screwdriver, but still struggle to understand your Instagram story? Yeah, that's Gen X parents. And there's something really interesting about them, something people don't talk about enough. It's not just they're strict or they don't get it. There's a hidden psychology behind how they think, how they love, and how they raise you. Let's talk about it. Gen X parents grew up in a completely different world. No smartphones, no Google, no, let me just search that real quick. If they wanted to know something, they had to figure it out. And that one habit, that figure it out yourself mindset, is deeply wired into them. So when you go to them with a problem like, hey, I'm feeling confused about my career, their brain doesn't go, oh, let's talk about feelings. Their brain goes, okay, what's the solution? That's why sometimes they sound a bit direct, not because they don't care, but because in their world, solving the problem was caring. It's like their love language is, did you eat? Did you finish your work? Why are you wasting time? Not exactly romantic, but very practical. And here's the twist. Gen X parents were raised with a lot less emotional expression. They didn't grow up hearing, I'm proud of you every other day. In fact, many of them grew up hearing things like, just do your job, don't complain, be strong. So, naturally, they became strong, but also a little emotionally reserved. So, when you expect them to suddenly become super expressive, open, and emotionally available like modern parents, it's like asking someone who learned to drive a manual car to instantly race in Formula One. Possible? Maybe. Easy? Not really. And here's something funny. Gen X parents are actually very independent. Like, very independent. They were the come home before the streetlights turn on generation. No constant supervision, no tracking apps, no share your live location. So they learned early, no one's coming to rescue you, handle it. Now, fast forward to today, when they see their kids depending on Google Maps for even a small route, they're like, seriously, just ask someone on the street. For them, independence isn't a skill, it's survival. And this creates a gap. You might think, they don't understand me. But from their perspective, they're thinking, why is this so hard for you? It's not judgment, it's a difference in upbringing. Now let's talk about something deeper. Gen X parents often show love through responsibility. They may not say, I love you every day, but they'll wake up early, work long hours, sacrifice their comfort just to make sure you're okay. It's like they won't write you a long emotional message, but they'll silently pay your bills and never mention it. Kind of like a superhero, but without the dramatic background music. And honestly, sometimes even without the smile. But here's where it gets complicated. Because while they're providing everything, you might still feel something missing. Like, why don't they just talk to me properly? Why can't they understand what I feel? And that feeling is valid. But here's the hidden truth. They were never taught how to do that. Imagine being expected to speak a language you were never taught. That's exactly what emotional communication feels like to many Gen X parents. They're not ignoring your feelings, they just don't always know how to respond to them. And sometimes they hide their own emotions too. You'll rarely see them break down, rarely see them admit fear or confusion, not because they don't feel it, but because they were trained to handle everything silently. Be strong, keep going. That's their default setting, even when life gets heavy. And here's something you might not expect. Gen X parents actually admire your generation. Yeah, they might complain about too much phone or too sensitive, but deep inside, they see something powerful. They see you expressing yourself, talking openly about mental health, questioning things they were never allowed to question. And part of them thinks, I wish I could do that too. But habits built over decades don't change overnight. So instead, they stay in their comfort zone. Practical, quiet, responsible. Now here's the real connection point. If you really want to understand a Gen X parent, don't just listen to their words. Watch their actions. Because their love is rarely loud, but it's always present. It's in the way they remind you to carry an umbrella, even when the sky looks clear. It's in the way they ask about your future, even if it sounds like pressure. It's in the way they stay awake until you come home safe, even if they pretend they were just not sleepy. And yes, they might never say everything perfectly. They might mess up emotionally. They might not always get it. But they're trying in the only way they know. And maybe, just maybe, understanding that changes everything. Because once you see their psychology, you stop taking things personally. You start seeing the intention behind the behavior. And that's when the relationship shifts. Not perfect, but better. So next time your Gen X parent says something blunt or doesn't respond the way you expected, pause for a second and ask yourself, is this lack of love or just a different way of showing it? Chances are, it's the second one.